Yeah. So I'm trying to think of something nice to report. I don't know why.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our February
Okay.
meeting. We have a long and an important agenda today, and I think we should start and look at the secretary's report first.
Oh, sugar, but I did on the one that. No, I had to make it,
That's fine. It doesn't make, it would only be him that would be insulted.
I had to make a PDF to put it on the website.
Okay.
I have a motion to accept the secretary's report.
I make a motion to accept the report.
A second, okay. Any questions, addition?
Excellent report. I said the only thing, and the only thing, well, you know, I kept it at 14 font. So the only correction is Paul Sarah has an H on the end of his name. And I did make the correction in the computer for the PDF that's going to go on the website. And I apologize for not making it.
Okay. With that exception, can everybody in favor?
Aye.
Against, okay. Go on to the treasurer's report.
All right, the treasurer's report for January 2026. Gift account, $8,398.23. Anonymous donations of $414.65. Expenses, $34.99 for the appreciation gift. COA food pantry account has donations of $470. They were personal donations. In expenses for Market Basket, $184.73.
If you look at the expense report attached to it, we are like right where we should be, where we have like 43, I think it's 43% of our budget left, and here we are in February.
Good job.
So this was printed for the end of January, for the month of January. So yeah, 45.30%.
That's good.
We're right on target.
Yes. Have a motion then to accept the treasurer's report.
My motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's go on to, you want to do part of the report
Yeah,
now?
just very briefly. So I don't know if any of you that do look at your mendonma.gov, I don't know if it's going to be sent out there, but we're doing a diversity review of, oh gosh, what is it here? Regarding a comprehensive digital literacy, for digital literacy. And I just, department heads were just made aware that there's going to be a survey that we'd like people to do. I will include it in the next newsletter. I will send it out via email to anybody that's on our email list. And I'm hoping that Dylan, our town planner, will send it out to all Mendon users. What it is we are looking to have Mendon residents fill out a survey about internet access and digital literacy. So I'm going to ask me to share it with you board members and with other community members, and that we will do. Okay.
Digital work,
Digital literacy.
literacy.
We also, through CMRPC, there's another survey to see about all of our facilities and how accessible our technological areas are for people in general. This is in addition to the ADA, it's separate from the ADA. And that almost, you know, I don't know which comes first, the chicken or the egg. The CMRPC is calling me and wanting to know what we offer, how can we improve? But when we're doing ADA, the digital literacy, and also this technological piece open to the public, it's kind of rolled into one. It's
Well, there's a lot of people trying to figure out all these things. I did the survey on the
Did you do it?
on the digital one.
okay.
I think my personal opinion, they're gaining too much personal information.
Exactly.
So everybody's gonna
Exactly.
flush that one.
Yep.
It sounds like a demographics marketing study for Spectrum, but that's beside the point. So whoever did that, the consultant firm, missed the mark, but that's okay. We can still offer it as I quit because it wanted too much personal information.
Okay, and I haven't even looked at it yet. So did it come to your master?
No, I heard of it and I went to the Mendon town and it was on the banner. I said, what is this? Because we were talking about doing surveys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, oh, let me see what this is. And I went through it and I said, well, this is. What's
Is
your,
it
you know,
funded by an internet company?
I don't know who sponsored it, but
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't been
It's not
involved.
town email then.
it's not yet, but it's on the town website.
I think Jeremy posted it too.
And it's okay. I mean, that's my opinion. Don't take my opinion as gospel. It just was talking about, if you could afford this, would you do this? There's just some of those questions that sound purely marketing.
This says the survey is for anyone living in Massachusetts. If you don't live in Mendon, you are still invited to fill out the survey.
Right.
It will help your town with their own efforts to ensure that computers and the internet are accessible to all. So it kind of ties into this other, program that's going on. But so, yeah, I just want to bring that to your attention. And the only other thing, everything else will be interdispersed, but is our chorus leader, Dave Klinkman, and some of our musicians are having health concerns right now. So we're trying to forge ahead as best we can, but there are some things such as cataract surgeries coming up, knee replacement. Our two of our musicians are not well.
We need more young people, and I don't mean young 20-year-olds. I mean, younger
60-year-olds.
retired. Everybody's getting old in that choir, including me.
Right.
I'm having knee problems. So, it's
So
like
we're talking
everybody's
about
got-
moving the date for the program. We don't have it yet, but it would be June instead of
Oh,
May.
okay.
Because we may have some lapses due to health concerns.
Mm.
So just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Well, everybody wants to.
The which program?
June is busting out all over as one of our songs, so that'll fit right in June.
Dave is not one of the ones that's ill. Could he come to a meeting and talk to us about why he needs more people and where to look for more people and so forth?
Sure. Actually, you know what? We could probably have the paper or the new internet paper do a write-up on it too. Looking for more members, but he's got some concerns. He's waiting.
Okay.
He's waiting. He's in the waiting mode for dates and things like that. So,
Good.
but he's forging along, and he's the playlist. They're doing show tunes this time around, and it's nice playlist.
Yeah, I
It
love
really
all-
is extensive.
It's fun. The music is fun to sing. It's good.
Okay, well, now we're going to go to the Mendon Elders report.
Thank you. We had a meeting on Monday. The treasurer's report, the January birthday party came in $12 under budget, thanks to the donations received. The secretary's report, new members continue to sign up. Noted increase in lifetime memberships, which is excellent. And we don't have to chase them ever again. I gave the Council on Aging report. Amy gave the director's report. The president's report, our birthday bash is February 17th. Pat Durkin is going to provide the entertainment. He sings and plays the piano, and homemade American chop suey will be served. Cooking classes begin in March, Friday, March 27th at 12:30. Bingo, all equipment and license are in place, and the monthly sessions will include 8 games for $5. The $5 will go straight away to be paid out for the winners. Scholarship program. After much discussion, the members approved a $1,000 scholarship for a Mendon resident pursuing further education. The requirement is that they complete 20 volunteer hours and an essay. The BJ membership that is paid for by the Friends, to use one of the adjunct memberships, you must be a member in good standing, and if the interest in membership exceeds the number of memberships we have, there will be a lottery. The committee reports: the Friends Lunch Bunch are dining at Quaker Tavern this month. Anne Halsing of the Sunshine Committee sent out a get well card, thinking of you card, and 2 condolence cards. The travel committee has been very busy. 3 trips are booked for 2026. In June, they are going on the Cape Cod train and having a meal there. In August, the Plymouth Harbour cruise. And in September, Harbour Lights cruise in Portland, Maine. The yard sale, we have received 2 checks so far for advertising, which is excellent. There will be follow-up emails probably next month.
There's another check came in yesterday. I think it is. I just put it in your box.
Just keep them coming. And the new business, we have history presentations planned. We met with Rick Schofield and Dick Grady. On April 28th, we plan to do the history of the Amadon Inn. Amy is booking the bus for us, and it will be at the Amadon Inn. On May 26th, we will have a lecture on Village Centre and Mendon's Golden Age. On June 30th, to fit in with the big birthday, Mendon's role in the revolution. There is a possibility edition of a YouTube film on Mendon's beginnings and King Philip's War, but we're having technical difficulties at the moment.
We're working on that too. I'll get to that.
Thank you so much. And next Friends meeting is March 9th, and the next board meeting is February 20th.
I have a question about the dues collecting. Do you ever send out reminders to people who have paid in the past but haven't re-upped?
No, I haven't.
I'm just wondering, some people may wonder, did I pay? Didn't I pay?
I'm just thinking, did it go out when we, when the minutes are sent out to general membership?
That's a good idea.
I think I think it is noted there that membership is due. Membership is due.
When are they in
But who gets that?
Everybody who is a member from the year before. Do you receive the minutes?
I don't think so, and I know I was paid up last year. I don't think I paid this year.
We'll remind Joanne. But I do know that because the minutes go out to, 60, 70 people, maybe even more now, that sometimes it just goes to people's spam filter,
For hours somewhere, I guess.
which obviously, I just delete mine. I've never looked at spam yet. Okay, we'll remind.
Okay, thank you.
Anne had a question looking at your notes. So the 20 volunteer hours for the students can be anywhere. Is that correct?
It is being changed. It is
Okay.
not possible in the time we have for them to do it at the
Yes,
CU.
yes, they may have already done.
That's why I put a line through
Left
it.
it out, yeah, okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
Okay, we're gonna start old business now, and the first issue is the food pantry and possible Eagle Scout project.
Yeah, it's still, this has been kind of in the works since the fall. I think that parents are letting the student, the scout kind of, forge his own path. And he's come in a couple times. He came in the other day, and I was fortunate to have Dan Byer there. And so we went down, because one thing that we had come up with, some of the food pantry volunteers would like new, more sturdy shelves in the center of the pantry. And so we went down, there are 2 Tatro, I guess, brothers, I think the Tatro brothers had done shelves, one on one side and one later on the other side. One's for the food pantry, one's for storage. And so we showed them. Dan felt it was quite doable. It's a pretty basic project, I guess, with 2x4s and plywood and so forth. But on top of that, trying to drum up some interest in, is this doable? This person has to, kind of start to run with it. Dan also came up with some other ideas of things that could benefit the town. One regarding trails, one regarding bridges for trails, one regarding scanning old documents, but didn't know if that would meet the requirements of an Eagle Scout project. So Dan was very instrumental that day. Where this scout is going to go from here, I'm not quite sure.
You mean hiking trails?
Yeah, there's some trails. I guess one scout is going to be doing markers for trails,
We have a lot of hiking trails in town.
but there's some bridges, I guess, that are in disrepair. But Dan was kind of, he put it out there and then he said he kind of pulled it back too. I'm not sure for what reason.
If anything, you probably need volunteers to keep the trails cleared out.
But an Eagle Scout is a kind of a one-time project. They have to involve other scouts. They have to get the funding,
Yeah.
things like
Oh,
that.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, well, I was involved with those when the kids were growing up. The point on the shelving downstairs I wanted to pipe in on is, I think I sent you pictures, I sent Karen pictures also. This metal shelf that you get from Home Depot. And the good thing about them, you can take them apart and reconfigure them, and you can move them.
Actually, you did show me too.
Are they dirty?
Very sturdy. And
Yeah.
they've got a wooden bottom.
Oh, that's
so-
good.
Because you didn't want to drip down.
Yeah.
And I use them in my attic, I use them in my basement, I use them in my garage. They're really durable, and you can always reconfigure it.
Yeah, I can show the volunteers. The volunteers, at first, they thought they wanted the wire shelving. And then they realized it, because we have some that were donated to us, which have been excellent for storage, for moving things around, things that aren't going to be, going out delivered for a while. They've been great, but they really feel concerned that that type of shelving for the everyday use would not be sufficient, I guess. But thank you. You did send that to me also. I can show that to them. But when they're at the pantry, they're like, we want shelves like this. And they point to the ones that are there that
I'm just thinking about the portability. Just show it to them. It might be interesting,
Okay,
especially
thank you,
You can
Phil. Thank you for that
reconfigure
reminder
as
too.
needs change, and you can move them someday.
Overall, the pantry is running really smoothly. We've got such a great group of volunteers and, life happens. And so there's a substantial amount of them. So if someone can't come once a Friday, distribution day, there's always someone else to be there to fill in. We've got a really good steady stream increase of people coming in on the first Friday. And then we have fewer people receiving the boxes and fewer people getting deliveries. So I think by increasing the hours on that first Friday, we're achieving the goal that we wanted to. We're getting more people to come in to see what we have. We have so much. They've been very, we really don't hold back. We've been letting them take what they need. We had a new family come in, grandparents their son died. So now they've got their two teenage grandchildren living with them, as well as their daughter-in-law. And they just came in the other day, and they're just, food stamps, $200 of food stamps is not going to go far for a family of 5.
You can't buy any of the perishable, can't buy any paper products when it goes over.
That's the most they give a family of 5, 200?
But it could be because, say, that daughter-in-law is living with them and she's bringing in an income. I don't know. Fuel assistance looks at everybody's income in the household. So, but Ann, I don't know if you want to speak to the pantry at all. Ann is there weekly.
No, it's been, everything you said is right. It's been going along well, and
It is organized.
very organized, very, I know I am, and I'm sure the other workers were all making an effort, Kathy, to keep everything nice and neat, orderly.
And we're starting to pare down on the inventory. One thing we're doing is items that are 2026, we're actually shifting to other entities. We recently brought food over to the Trinity Church in Milford that does a weekly meal. Upton, I just spoke to Upton yesterday. I will tell you, Upton's kind of in the same boat as us. They have a smaller facility, but in terms of what they need and what they have, they said, we don't need any more regular Cheerios. We need Spam. Everybody needs Spam. The St. Gabriel's.
Did you
asked for
give
Spam.
them some?
Yes, we
Oh,
gave
you
them
did.
some. We
Okay.
had someone give us 4 cases of Spam, and
That's nice.
things have expiration dates. We gave a case to St. Gabriel. We're giving a case to Upton.
There's a case sitting on that shelf, that portable.
So he should have taken it at the end of the day. Wayne was going to bring that over to Upton.
Oh, the bag was ripped that it was in, so I
Okay.
threw the bag away.
Okay, yeah, he came, he was done at the end of the day. So food pantry is working out
Yeah.
great. And
I was gonna ask you too, going down to where the furnace is, Not the metal shelf now, the regular, there was food down
Yeah,
there.
they're
Is
getting
that-
to it, so they got to that metal shelf was full as of
Yeah.
last Friday, they got to that all, and then, they're getting to it little by little.
Oh,
It's
so
just-
that's what that, I wasn't sure what that food, if
Yep.
that was
Nope.
food you were setting aside.
No, some of it is actually gonna be going to Upton Milford. There's Upton Milford, there's a soup kitchen in Woonsocket. Again, we just did Trinity, trying to share with others, you know, that can
No,
use
it's
it.
great, because,
Because you know what,
Trinity was thrilled.
if it's gonna expire,
yeah, I
you know,
right.
and we don't want it to, so that's why we're pulling out the 2026s. That's a tedious project. They're sitting there in an area, they're pulling out all the 26s, we're
Yeah.
keeping
I
27
still,
to 28.
I found some oatmeal yesterday that was January of 26.
Yeah.
So I put it in a box out in the garage. You're still doing that? But-
You know, I'm holding them inside, but
Oh,
yeah.
I
and-
didn't know where to put it.
That's
Well,
that's
it's
okay.
in a
That's
box
all
out
right.
there.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
and again, you know, and some things are just gonna have to get tossed, you know. Most pantries are like us, they're compliant with dates, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
Just a one side question.
yep.
Is it, do we need, have ever considered, should we have it open more than once a week, once a month?
I think, honestly, I think we would draw down people get a lot. I think we would draw down our inventory really sharply. Because I expect every summer, we're kind of bare bones. And if you could see how much people walk away with, I mean.
Which is good.
Which is good. But,
Okay, I was just curious.
we did, at one time, we did an evening hours, and we're not opposed to doing that again. We had a volunteer that would help man evening hours, for people that
Do
are
it by
working.
appointment.
Yeah, that was.
By appointment, for people that are working.
Yeah.
And actually, the first Friday is all by appointment too,
Yeah.
and it's working very
I
smoothly.
think between their food stamps and what they get, from us.
I'm just thinking more people.
It should hold them
I'm thinking
over.
other people could potentially benefit from it, because we don't know how broad the net is.
Yeah, we have about 50 households.
Mm.
Yeah, it's on the statistics too, when we get to that.
So, question, so they've all been qualified?
They have to be requalified too. You know, Janet used to do it every January. I haven't, brought Janet in the fold
Right.
just yet to do that, but new people, like the new couple that came on, they brought proof that they're residents. They brought, they brought a DTA, their SMOC, and then their DTA, award letter for food stamps, SNAP.
Okay, is there anything you need to tell us about the budget?
Phil and I met. I haven't met with Jeremy yet. I'm actually meeting with him next week. Phil, do you want to speak at all to it? Oh, you know what, here. Actually, Carol, do you have you're gonna pass those out?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I guess, no, I mean, I think.
Carol's got a copy of what we decided and inputted.
I've got one.
Got one.
And I'm sorry, when you're putting it in the computer, it's a long form. And so this is just a portion of it, but it gives you the gist of what we put in for level services. And then Phil and I worked on the numbers. Jeremy had already given some input. We had decreases from last year because we had the extra money in there for tires for the van and maintenance for the van after the tire installation. We also had money for the chairs. Those are taken out of the budget because obviously they serve their purpose, but in doing so, Jeremy had instructed me to put $2,000 in for building maintenance. We've never had a building maintenance line item. And the town's building maintenance is picking up a lot of what we've been doing, but now we have two grand in there. So now, Phil, I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I think the van and some other expenses the town absorbed last year made it go down a little bit. Level funding is important, but I think we increased things like supplies, we increased building maintenance. And there's still a building maintenance account in the town for big ticket items. I think you just realized we have a lot of little ticket items. Staff training, did we increase that? Yeah, we did increase that. And the maintenance, I guess the van maintenance was 2,500 went down. And the reason that went down is because we figured $3,500 a year for just general maintenance on a van.
So technically it then went up because it used to be 2,500, but then we increased it to 6,000 for the tires and for the,
Oh, going back to, yeah.
so we decreased it.
You know, taking any number of one of our fleets into the shop always costs me about that much. Yeah,
So essentially, when FinCom looks at this, there's gonna be a decrease of 1,735. So hopefully they'll be happy with that.
I'm sure they will. I would, you have no slack in here. If they're not, we need to fight for it. Just tell Jeremy.
And he's seen these numbers too. I mean, so,
This is a minuscule budget compared to any other.
right.
Yeah, it sure is.
And it's his office and, I think the treasurers will be FinCom will be working on the salaries. That's not something
That's
that
okay.
our office does.
Yeah, I think we should get no pushback from this thing because it's bigger.
Mhm.
If there is, it should-
So maybe
It's actually
please-
less.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
It's really less than last
Because of
year's
those,
budget.
yeah.
yeah. Well, the van was 6,000.
And
So
the chairs were 3,500.
that's the two nuts we put in last year's budget. So
Oh, yeah, yeah. But we did go in level services and we looked at, for example, postage. We haven't increased postage in forever and a day. And so we've, in 2018, we sent out about 600 newsletters. Now we're sending out 900. That's not out of town, that's in town. For 900. So, I mean, we've had an increase there. And even though we're permitted to use the Friends bulk permit, which saves us, we figured like 100, I can't remember, it was 140 or $170 every month. It still costs. And what I hear from the senior population, yes, there are those that like to get it online and you can get it earlier online. And, but there are those that still like to hold that paper copy for,
yeah. And I guess if you look at the budget, maybe everything went up a little bit
Mhm.
For the most part.
Yeah.
The only things that went down was because we didn't have to do that much on the van.
Mhm.
So, but it's still higher than the year before. And then the chairs.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns about the budget before we move on?
I was just gonna ask the folks on the van, where it's getting older, now we have this budget went down, but something really big went wrong on it.
I think we go to the town.
We do.
Go to
Go to the town.
Okay.
And we're also, I don't know what's gonna happen, but we are supposed to get the lieutenant fire chief's cast off truck. He would have gotten the
Is
fire
that,
chief's.
is that still in play?
It is. Actually, what I was told by Jeremy, I think it was Jeremy told me,
Recently?
yeah. Well, I mean, probably a month ago that, the corruption wasn't as bad as they thought. It was gonna take some time, because they're doing the work themselves. It's gonna take some time to bring it up to speed, but unless you know something I don't know.
No, I'm grinning on the work themselves. We always do this work themselves. It costs more time and labor.
Yeah.
And what else they could do?
I wanted some pinstriping and, some other.
So that's the one that's sitting at the highway department.
So what that will do is it will cut down on the wear and tear of the van. And there are, believe me, there are some driveways in this town that it is very hairy for that van. And I don't envy the guys going to pick people up. And they're people that should be coming more regularly to the center for the socialization. And so having this SUV will be a huge blessing when it does happen.
I believe capital wise, somewhere on 28 or 29, we have a van projected for the budget for the town. So that's part of it. Jeremy's working on and the town is working on how to get a fleet rotation thing. So I threw the van in that fleet rotation thing. So it's out there in 28 or 29. So we're gonna need a new van. So
Yeah.
whatever that number
Not too
was.
far away. We have about 65,000 miles on the van right now. So we're putting about 400 months up.
Moving on, maintenance and housekeeping.
So we were blessed with our annual audit from the Board of Health, and I will tell you, so kind. Showing us, our deficits and pointing them out and allowing us, we agreed on a month to get some things fixed. Some things, for example, in the kitchen, Board of Health agent got down on the floor. There's a gap between like the dishwasher and a cabinet that needs to be sealed. Okay, one thing. She would also like our refrigerator to be pulled out and a deep cleaning to go the floor underneath and around. The same with the stoves. Need to do a better job of keeping up with expired food. There was a lot of gluten-free crackers in the cabinet that I think were from past, monthly meetings and that needed to be discarded. And the refrigerator was also, cleaned out. So we have to stay on top of that. keep up with things like the microwave, the fans in the room that apparently they just attract us and, we did that out, but again, very, very kind. I haven't gotten the report yet, but it might be, contingent upon them coming back and seeing that all the work has been done. So, but it's, where we are an established food establishment, and we do have that, annual permit. We have to do certain things, so.
On those, Amy, are you able to use our cleaning service to do something?
Oh, so I'm getting a quote from him to do,
Excellent.
yeah, it's just a matter of, he comes in at like 11 o'clock at night. I know he came in the other day. I didn't know he was coming, but he came in the other day. So Shauna was able to kind of, informative of some of the things that she was aware of. She wasn't with me in the kitchen and the rest. But I will tell you, the agent came down in the food pantry. It was her first time. She was blown away. She couldn't believe how organized it was, how clean it was. So, so that was good.
Yeah. Leave Melissa, hey, go do it.
So what they have, and I haven't gotten it yet, but apparently there's a standard list that we can post in there, and when things are done, they can be checked off.
I'm thinking about the cleaning guy.
Well, he's like for the town hall, he's general cleaning, general maintenance. I think this is extra over and above.
Well, he can give you a quote to him.
Oh, yeah, he would definitely give us a quote. I also wanted to make you aware, when Phil and I talked about this, we talked about what's it called, Phil? It's work orders. So the work orders, the building program is running with the windows for the basement. I mean, because we had a deficit. The windows got sealed by Dewey, in order to keep critters out, and it seems to be working well, but those windows are well over 30 years old, and they've got rags tucked in them to keep out, the breeze. So they got a quote for just their first quote, but they got a quote for about $6,500. What they want to do, and I guess I'll have to go, I don't know, to Jeremy FinCom Select Board, I'm not sure. I guess it might have to go on a warrant. We still have like over $3,000 in from the annual town meeting voted on the windows for the center for 10,000. We did them for 7. I can't, we did all for the first floor. We did. And so there's $3,000 there. It sounds like it would be up to them to initiate this with Jeremy FinCom to try to have the townspeople would have to vote to utilize that 3,000 that's been sitting in there for 10 plus years. And then I would imagine the town's going to come up with the other 3,500 from their building maintenance.
Yeah, that should
Budget.
be doable.
Why do they have to revote if they've already voted for that?
Because they voted for upstairs for the first floor. They voted for windows for the first floor. Those were completed. Royal Thermal View did a beautiful job. They came in under budget. So there are still $3,000 sitting there, but it was for the first floor. So in order to use that for the basement windows, the townspeople have to,
When you say sitting there, where is that?
it's in an account.
Getting interest?
No. The town, anytime there's the annual town meeting votes on something, for example, the furnace came in, I believe it was $1,000 under budget. So as far as the town's concerned, it says ATM, furnace, 1,000, ATM windows, and they each of them have a designated account number, and it'll say 3,000 or 3,500, whichever it is. So, but you people, because you voted for it for one thing, it has to be. Can you speak to that, Elena?
So I'd have to know more of the details of this specific, but sometimes it works out that it's better to close the old account and then have the vote on the new amount from free cash, for example. That's so depending on the terms of the account and how it was voted, it may not be possible to transfer.
Okay.
So I don't know. And so that's a possibility, but the money is still the town's money, and it's like bookkeeping.
What happens when you close the account? What does that mean?
So it goes to free cash. So
We
anytime
lose it.
we don't, so the town doesn't lose it.
No, but I'm talking.
It goes, right,
Well,
but
our budget.
it's depending on the terms of what that vote was, it may not be actually available to like one project anyhow, right? So we have, there are very detailed state laws about this,
So it
so.
couldn't be a selling point, like, you
It
know.
could be, right. So it could be that sort of like essentially this was already voted for in the past. So this is, but like how it's done technically might need to be through town meeting for the whole amount. But I don't know without looking at the specifics of how it was voted on. But I know this is a process of, you know, that Jeremy has been working on, is closing out the old accounts where they actually, it might not be possible to legally spend that
Yeah,
money anymore.
and I probably should.
We don't know, right? So we don't know, and maybe it is. So like it's, and I don't know,
So it goes to a vote to the town and the town votes no.
right?
What happens to that money?
It stays in free cash.
But then there could be that other article for the windows for the
Yes.
$6,500.
And I mean, usually, right, usually the town does support the smaller maintenance items. But it is also possible that it's such a small amount that it could be,
Just transfer.
it could be like, there could be more money in general town maintenance that's passed as part of the budget. And so it's all the town's money. So that's the thing, is like, it's never lost. It's just which account it can be spent from legally. Because we don't, like it, yeah, it's one of these things where like sometimes our hands are tied, and if we are not careful, it can affect the town's credit rating, for example. So, but it's yeah. So anyhow, so I don't know the specifics of it. So it might be that the terms of it might be possible to use it, but like,
Probably
but
not.
like it's not, it sounds like it's just $3,000 that isn't being used for anything right now. And they could be.
How many years now?
Many years, and this always isn't the $1,000 for the first, but I know, like you said, Jeremy, I think one of the first things he did when he came in, he was looking at all those accounts, because they're a lot. They're-
Right, and so like, so we don't, I can't really say specifically without knowing those
Yeah.
details,
So
but
you're working that one with Jeremy?
Yeah.
If it's the warrant or not?
Yeah, well, yeah, as long as we don't lose out on it.
No, I think that the key is the windows need to get done.
Oh, yeah.
Long and short, wherever the money comes from, and if they take that $3,000 back and put it in
They're
free
old
cash.
and old and rusty.
Free cash, does that mean anybody in town can take it?
No, they have
it
to,
has to go through town
that's
meeting.
good. You people vote on it.
We will.
So yeah, and anytime we use free cash, including moving it into other accounts in the town, it's always the townspeople who vote on that.
Okay,
So
my
nothing
business.
can be done until the town meeting.
Potentially.
For $6,000 probably.
Well, potentially, I mean, unless there's money in other building and maintenance, unless there's already money that has been designated for that purposes, and this can fit under that purpose.
Okay. But they're looking at it, they're working on it, very
that
diligent.
money gets lost in big government, huh?
Mhm.
It's your government's.
Okay, ADA self-evaluation and inspection.
So Peg, Phil, and I met on January 27th. We went over the self-evaluation. I completed it, mailed it into the Center for Living and Working, and also to our planner, town planner. In conjunction with that, CMRP, Center for Living and Working, in conjunction with CRPC, their representative came out and completed our inspection on the 3rd of February. And Phil, do you want to speak at all? I mean, I can speak to the inspection, which
Yeah,
they were so nice, but it was not a pretty inspection.
Really?
No,
why don't you speak to that?
okay. For example, we had a meeting here, all the department heads. I left that meeting and I went down and I went right into the restroom with a tape measure. I'm like, okay, this one doesn't meet. This one does meet, the grab bars have to be, so one grab bar is in compliance, the other adjacent one is not. The mirror needs to be, lowered. The coffee, this is really cute. Where we serve the coffee, that table is from the Grange. And it says, if you lift up the tablecloth, it says property of the Grange. It's kind of cool to have something that old. That table is too low. And for being too low, it's got that nice skirt with that plaque on it, but a person in a wheelchair can't wheel close enough into to reach things in the back of the thing. So, that the gentleman doing the inspection said, oh, you could just put 2x4s under there, lift it up, and Dan Beyer can. It's a nice table. You want to do something different, but certainly, and we
Is that
could.
the coffee and tea table? That, no.
It's too low.
Yeah.
It's too low to be in compliance. So, thing was, all right, I started off in the pantry and basement because people were getting ready for lunch upstairs. I think Karen, was that your day? So, so I started them off down there. Again, they were impressed, but there are some deficits there. They'd like to see a lift between the basement and the first floor.
Oh, great.
To make it, and not necessarily for clients, because the clients come in on ground level, but for the workers at the center, you know, bring things up and down. So that was one thing. But when it came up to the first floor, I was very pleased when he went to my office, flipped on the switch, and he said, "Oh, this is in compliance." My light switch was in compliant. It was probably one of the few things in the building. Unfortunately, the stair lift is not. They would like to see a lift there. So this is a very comprehensive survey. This is not a survey that says we must do these things. This is a survey saying these are things that, you know, should be considered.
And the brand new stair lift that we just had put in is not in compliance.
No, because you need a lift, not an elevator, a lift for somebody in it. The gentleman that came was in a wheelchair. He couldn't go upstairs. His counterpart did, and his counterpart was the one with the measuring tape. They were questioning the deck redo and the ramp out back, not thinking that there was enough money.
Right.
I told them the budget. And so they went over with a fine tooth comb. Our entry ramp, we've all known that wasn't, it's the pitch is not proper, the turns are not proper. I asked if we had a ramp in compliance out back and made that kind of our, you know, main entryway, so to speak. Could we still keep the other one? Because I mean, here they are talking about ripping out ramps and throwing out figures like $90,000.
If we were ever to get a new senior center, a lift would have to be a part
Oh,
of it.
yeah. Well,
Because in the beginning, we were saying we want to spend the extra 10,000, 100,000, whatever it was for the lift.
It was put in. It was, any plans that we've done, I think were the
Always included a lift.
elevator.
Well, yeah, the plans, we'll talk, the plans basically are, we made progress. We got more information from Abacus. Jeremy presented at my capital meeting. And he's got 3 configurations that they're looking at, but they're not final yet. So he'll be presenting them to the COA in April or May of this year. So, and you know, if you look at this, it's a 27 kind of an event at the earliest before we go to townspeople, which means we need to start working on it 27. But the new building would have lifts. The new building would have to be built by state mandated ADA compliant. It's not going to be a homegrown special.
Yeah.
I don't mean that negatively. It's got to be,
Right.
it's got to meet
And
all.
that all adds to the cost too, naturally, because it's
Mhm.
got, you gotta.
In terms of labor and all that too. Right.
Yeah, lots of costs.
That's why, you know, I have Phil next on here, you know, just talk about the Abacus study, just.
Yeah, the Abacus, they did get back with Jeremy, and Jeremy was able to present to our capital planning meeting. We had several things come before us. The library committee came and presented some of their needs for the old rectory, and they did a very nice presentation. So the library presented to our capital meeting, and they did a nice presentation.
Excellent.
And it's projected out out in the future. Jeremy did receive information, still preliminary form, from Abacus. It has cost numbers for a reconfiguration of our building, North Avenue. And I think it was it, right?
I think they took the other one off
Oh, they took off Morrison Drive.
finally.
And I think they looked at combining it with the library. So they have 3 different prices. So it's still a reconfiguration of our building and or North Ave. So but the details aren't in yet. I want to see them
Right.
and they'll present them to this body April or May, and then we can have our input. But until you look under the hood, you don't know what you have.
But I will tell you, the libraries report, I just felt like there were so many areas you could just take out Taft Library and put in senior center in terms of their deficits. You know, the way that they were expressing why they need the space more, having more community space so that people can use the library, and that there can be community areas that don't interfere with that. I mean, it just.
Yeah, if you have one room, you can't have multiple
Right.
functions going on.
We know that. Who knows that better than us?
So anyway, that's in progress. So May, June, April, May, we'll see something there. I'm suspecting May. Jeremy will be out.
So the next thing we have is
Grant update.
grant updates. Just before I jump to you, I recently got a request to support a grant through the UMass Memorial Hospital. Michelle Sanford, who used to write for the Crier, I think she started the same time I started years ago, and we developed a kind of a good rapport. I didn't realize she reached out to me and with the person that's in charge of the stroke awareness program over at the hospital, wanting to have someone support a grant. And I guess we were the sole person. And so the hospital had done the same stroke program last year over at Milford Senior Center, and it would be pretty extensive, 3 meetings. And then there would be some giveaways, and so we'll see. I did write a letter of support. They're hopefully going to be finding out, I think even the end of this month. The grant needs to be implemented by the end, by June, I believe it is. And we would just supply the space. They would be, configuring what we're going to be doing. We would be doing the advertising, the space, and so forth. So it's good to take advantage of these programs, when they come up, and I'm going to segue that into where Phil's been up to.
Well, our last meeting, Amy gave me 3 grants to take a look at. I met with Peg and Amy and myself. First grant was for using IBM software for adult learning, literacy, for internet safety, for computer literacy. How do you do things? That had a short window, so I submitted that grant for, and our county part of that as well. I submitted that grant for the level 1, the lowest level. That would require us to do some training and things. It's in the process. We'll know about that between now and the end of the month. Grants are grants. We may or may not get it. Andy, our friend, Carolyn's husband, said he would help me with that if we do get it. So I'm going to give him some information. And Earl, you came up with some suggestions, possible people who could be a supplemental trainer for that.
Mm-hmm.
When we go after these grants, I'm looking for some ways to get people to help implement it, either by funding the person who presents or funding the clinician, which we'll talk on the next one, rather than just putting more burden on the staff and or purely volunteers. Volunteers obviously have a stake in the ground. Andy, in this case, and I would be working to try to figure out the technology one. The second grant, so that's coming this month. That's about a $5,000 grant. It's labor intensive, as we all agreed, but it still might be worthwhile to go after. Second one, we're looking at a Memory Matters Cafe. Jen and I, we had a meeting this morning with Memory Matters Cafe. It's coming from the Health Association of Central Massachusetts, a nonprofit organization. It was funded by donations. That grant is due the end of the month. We looked at it as a group and we just said Memory Matters Cafe would be a good target for that because it's a project we've already looked at here. We had our meeting with the person who is our advisor this morning, and she gave us some guidance on how to do this. So Jen and I are going to meet again next Thursday or Tuesday, and then we're going to put that grant together. That'd be a grant somewhere in the range of $60,000, and it would fund a Memory Matters Cafe, Memory Cafe. It would fund clinicians, it would fund nutrition, and we got some good positioning advice. We should be positioning it as a kickstart program to a sustaining program. What that means is I'm going to probably talk to Elena and get a letter of support from the select board. Because after that year, we look for operational. The other consideration we talked about, and I asked a question based on whether it should be an town budget, town-based or friends-based operation for the grant. So it was neutral. We made many times they do for non-governmental agencies get the grant.
Mm-hmm.
So I may ask the friends to support the grant, which means they would receive the money, but it would be administered by Jen. But the budget would you'd agree to from the grant, and you would manage to spend. It would just be a different kind of administration. I'll sort all through that between here and next week.
Mhm.
But we,
It's true. There are a lot of things that are not available to the municipal government that we need a 501c3.
yeah, in this case would be running through those guys to get. to-
Right, right. It's like the newsletter, like the bulk permit, things like that.
The thing will be though, we need to have, it's a kickstart program, so we need operational sustainability. And like the van, once we buy it, the town needs to take it over. Once we do this, the town needs to take it over, I believe.
So I happened to be on a call with directors, was it 2 weeks ago, and most of them were new. There were a few of us that were veterans, and Franklin has 80 people that comes to their memory cafe. Upton, which was started by a high school student, got off to a good start, but it's unfortunately the numbers have dropped. I talked to the director there, but it's, having to infuse new, life into it. And actually they've had several different directors too. So I think, continuity, but memory cafes, I think they're very, it's an important program to offer to people that have someone that has memory deficit, has dementia, and then you still want to go out, you still want to be part of the community. You have entertainment, you have, as Bill said, the clinicians who can assist.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's exciting. It's something that I have wanted to have available for a long time. And when we looked at the difference between having like a daycare type, not a daycare, but a day program versus memory care. Memory care is it's a good way to jump off and start. We don't have enough big enough facility to do a daycare program.
Daycare, you need separate,
Yes.
you need
Yes.
nurses, you need all kinds of
Like
things.
Bellingham has separate rooms. Who does?
Daycare, Bellingham.
Yes, yes,
And they provide breakfast and lunch.
yes, but they have a separate space
They have
for
an
that.
amazing kitchen.
Yes, they do. I haven't seen the new
So-
kitchen.
That one, I think, all these grants, Jenny, who's the person who represented the granting agency, said they're all tough to get. The things that go for us is we're new to the program, so they like doing new things. It's for Central Massachusetts. She got fired up more when we talked about starting up and how we sustain it, rather than, non-operationalized. We should make it not look like an operational expense. We need to make it look like a kickstart expense, a train-to-trainer situation, a bunch of different things. Jen and I will blend that into the grant. We'll see what we get.
Now, you were saying that it would be a kickstart from the grant, but eventually the town would have to take it over.
Or funding. There's 3 potential funding sources. It's a program. So we may say, okay, friends, can you support contribution to this? We may say UMass Memorial Hospital and their larger reach, could you support Memory Matters kind of cafes? Or Draper, who has an assisted living, could you support? Because that's where people would eventually transition into maybe long term. But first I'm going to go for the town. That's the simplest one. Town should have that responsibility. And it probably continuation would probably be somewhere, guess number, right? $30,000 more a year of our taxpayer money. But it should be out of operating budget. It shouldn't be an override.
Did you have a third one that you looked at, or was
A third one, there's still one out there. We talked about pickleball courts. We talked about open spaces. That's still out there. That's with the AARP.
the AARP one? Yeah.
This week I'll come up with something with what I input. We'll try to figure out where we could use the money. I don't have any great ideas for that one yet.
When is that due?
Probably the end of the month too.
End of February?
No, that was in March, I think.
Yeah, I thought there was when was March 4th? I don't remember which one.
Yeah, this one here, the one we're dealing with now is. Yeah, it is March 4th.
So this is for the
For this was the
memory
AARP.
cafe? Or no,
AARP.
is March 4th.
Is that the due date?
That's the due date for the grant. So that's gonna be done in the next 2 weeks. And then, phase 1 concept is March 1st for the, Memory Matters Cafe, Memory Cafe.
Okay, phase one. That's reasonable, having phases like that.
Yeah, if we get past the first cut, the probability of getting awarded is higher.
Good.
Much higher.
Thank you for your time on that and for your enthusiasm.
We need to take care of the easers, right?
Mhm.
Excuse me.
Okay, upcoming and follow-up programming.
Okay, I'm gonna be a little bit winded here. We have our own Earl Perlman coming to the senior center tomorrow and our own Wayne Phipps for 2 Valentine's programs back to back along with a luncheon. Would love to have you join it. There's still some space. We've put, we've received some requests, and so we put feelers out to see about having Tai Chi on either an additional day or a different day. And so I utilized a senior worker, and she had 3 different lists of all the people that have participated or expressed interest in Tai Chi. And when she was covering here at the center, at the assessor's office yesterday, she called everybody, left messages, actually made contact with many people. And I did get a text from Faith this morning, and it sounds like there might be enough people to actually be able to hold or to carry Tai Chi on both Tuesday and a Wednesday. Tuesday would need to be right after exercise. And I do apologize because I know the friends have their birthday bash, and I know it like us, when we're doing programs, we're doing tomorrow's program. We're not setting up tonight like we used to. We're going to do it after exercise tomorrow. So it's a little bit stressful, but
I think March 17th could be an issue because we've got an early program that
so you know
day.
what? Maybe we start in April because we have a March 10th date of a program that's coming up that we'd have to bump Tai Chi anyway on a Tuesday. So, maybe I'll tell her we could start in April, and that's reasonable. It gives people time to, finish out maybe one class. Say they don't want to do both classes. Some people might want to do both classes. A lot of people might be doing them over in Hopedale too, and wanting to balance this out. But what we want to see is that
That's a weekly program, right?
yes, yeah, well, it might be now twice weekly for us.
That's what I mean.
And then the other chair exercise is twice weekly. So we're working on getting that, and we're in touch with all the participants. So that's something I wanted to bring to your attention.
What's the maximum number on the participants?
Well, we've had
Like
14
14
on Wednesdays, and it's tight.
Yeah.
I think Shauna's hope was that by offering it 2 days, that maybe we'll lessen it to 12, maybe 10, and certainly it can carry itself for that. One thing I am a little bit, disappointed in is that when we added Tai Chi on Wednesdays, unfortunately, we lost some Qigong people. So our Qigong class is really small, and I don't know if we're going to be able to continue it long term. We'll see. I'd like to, because the people that are taking it need to take it. But they didn't, and the people that were taking it and now are taking Tai Chi found it was too difficult to do 2 things back to back. So we have to give that some consideration. Also, if we do end up taking Qigong off the schedule for a while, I'd probably want to move Tai Chi up to, 10 o'clock, an earlier time slot. I have people that are clamoring for more 9 o'clock time slots. We just don't have them. They're being used by other things. So we'll see where we are. We're hearing people's, we're hearing what people are asking for. We're trying to find out what the collective whole, wants to do and trying to go forward with that.
2-class idea sounds like a good thing. Rather,
So evening yoga will be starting, again, people are clamoring for that. So that's going to be starting Monday, March 9th. And that's going to be after daylight savings, which is one of our concerns. We really don't like the people, driving at night. Some people have, night vision issues. And so that's going to be March 9th at 6:30. I did talk to Faith about possibly expanding these classes. So instead of being 8-week sessions, that maybe they're a 10-week session. So there's not as quick a turnaround time. And she dissuaded me there because she said some people, they may go to Florida in the winter. They may have other life circumstances. So she felt that an 8-week class, and I guess I'd have to hear it from the participants. I just thought 10 weeks might be help so you're not just constantly turning around and signing up again. When I used to take yoga, I would take a 16-week class through Milford High School, which is something you just do it once and just leave it. But so evening Tai Chi coming up. The AARP tax program has started this month. Hopedale has been such a good neighbor to us. They do get filled up. I looked at our notes from our meeting last year this time, and AARP in Hopedale was filled up then. I did get really good, I'm not saying they're filled up now, but I did get really good news this week. Milford Library, the Milford Library director lives in Mendon. She came in the other day, she's contemplating retirement, and she told me they have the ARP tax program. They also have evening slots, and theirs runs till early April. The Hopedale one only runs till March. So I'll make people aware of that need that. And we've got very specific guidelines in our newsletter about who can use that program. If you've got, 5, 1099s and all kinds of, forms, you really should be going to your own accountant. This is for somebody that has basic needs. I am so thrilled to let you know, I've been talking about this for months. I applied for this back in December, the judicial program. Judge Eustace is so excited
What's
to
his
come
name?
back.
Judge what?
Eustace, EUSTIS, Judge Eustace.
EUSTIS.
TIS is coming back. I had given him 3 dates back in December. He chose, I believe it's Wednesday, March 25th. I just have to confirm the time because in our going back and forth with our emails, we didn't mention that. We finally got the day pinned down, but I believe it will be 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. He really enjoyed his time with us last year. He said he's honored to come back, and I will get that. I will start putting that out via the internet, in the newspaper, and in the newsletter. So that's really exciting. Cooking with Donna and Betsy, scheduled for Friday, the 27th of March. We've got a lot of people that are excited about that. That's going to be, is it 12:30, Karen? 12:30. The friends are, very gracious. We're going to have their monthly meeting a little bit early, and then they'll do this afterwards. And it sounds like there's, I think, 3 components to it, is it? And
Betsy's doing the first one.
okay.
So, and then I think we're gonna have Hala do something.
So we have a volunteer, Hala, who is so versatile, so energetic. She is helping in the food pantry. She's certified to help in the kitchen. She loves to cook. She loves to feed us. I came in yesterday from the town hall, and it's like a plate was put in front of me. Try it. And she doesn't want you to just try one. You need to try 2. And Shauna's like, but delicious. She makes delicious things. She's a sweetheart, and we're very fortunate to have her. We may lose her to a job someday. She's I think mother of 5, I think it is. Mother of 5, and the youngest one is.
Yeah, the range is crazy.
Oh my gosh, she's a huge range, but she is a great person, great volunteer. So I hope we can keep her as long as we can. Powerful tools I've told you about before. Caregiver program starting April 1st, 6 weeks, and let's see, we have the ukulele program is underway. I think Tom Irons has already signed up for that. The park program, the grant was approved for 2 classes. The instructor gave us the choice to just do 2, to just do the 2, and for $150. And this class is for up to 24 people. She brings all the ukuleles. I said, I'm sure we can find the money, $150 to make it a 3-part series.
And Tom will love it.
Yeah, I'm hearing too from staff members that they'd like to do it too. I do anticipate, I've had communication from him, our photographer would love to come back this spring. He has a really good, solid following. We've kind of alternated between Mendon and Hopedale. And so hope to start him again. And let's see, Registry of Deeds and Probate. That's again, another fascinating program. That's for April 14th. It is confirmed 10 a.m. And then for those of you that were at the Friends meeting on Monday, I got an update on the Inspired Learning Program. Fortunately, Inspired Learning Day, it has been changed. It's not going to be March 19th, which I was contacted just this past month. They want to do a program with us, and actually it's not high school students, I apologize, it's 5th graders. They want them, the teacher is from Mendon, they want the students to come down to the center to do interactions that day. They want to do something from 8:30 to 11. And again, now it's not till June, so we have more time to plan. Okay, I just, my head was spinning, She just got back to me last night and said, yeah, it's going to be put off till June. So And finally, sorry for being verbose, but the final one, World War II memories. World War II memories that took place on January 30th over at the Nipmuc School was a huge success. 2 students, a small class of 15, 2 students would pair up with 1 senior. And we had several seniors that unfortunately became ill either prior to or that day. And so, but they juxtaposed, they were able to move things around. Like the teacher herself jumped in and did one of the interviews. She actually did the interview, Carolyn, with Marlise. And so we had Marlise, who was a child in Germany during World War II. We had Per, P-E-R, from Upton, who was a child in Denmark during World War II. He was not able to be there, but the child that's interviewing him also wasn't able to be there. So they were going to make a connection apart from this event. So the school, all the administration came in and just was fascinated about this. The students are going to be coming here on Thursday, March 5th at 1:30 to discuss their findings. They had a list of 4 pages of questions. So the people that couldn't come or the people that couldn't fill out the forms themselves, I did phone inventory. So for example, Marlise, I mailed the form to her on a Friday. We had that big snowstorm. We were all meeting the next Friday. This was a really fast turnaround. She didn't get the form in the mail because her mailbox got knocked out. So I did an interview with her over the phone, typed it up, called her back. I did this for one other senior too, called her back, read the responses to make sure that they were in line with what she wanted and supplied them to her the day of, and also supplied them to the teacher in advance. And so they're going to come here, the kids are going to come here and they're going to speak to their findings, and they really, really enjoyed it. They're also going to do it at Upton. They're going to do it at Upton at 10 a.m. So if you can't make it here for 1:30 in the afternoon, and you can go to Upton. And Upton, I hate to say it, has more space than us. I don't know does anybody know what their capacity is in that big room?
Go ahead, Mary.
I think it was 75, wasn't it?
Hmm?
I think it was 75 that Steve said auditorium stuff.
Yeah, so, you know, I am going to say, I'd like to, first things first, I'm going to contact all the participants and give them their choice where they would like to go. Because I'd like to make sure, we can only have so many, make sure that they get their choice. And
These are high school students.
those are high school, yes, those are high school students. Various, but 4 pages of questions. They were incredible. So we have a lot of things happening at the center.
You wanted to see more programs go.
I have a follow-up question to that. I do, it's good, great, I think. What about Monday and Friday, alternate staff shifting? I really mean that. Amy, I don't know, you need to work with staff in the town. But the town being closed Friday doesn't mean anything to me. The town shouldn't be closed Friday.
The whole town is closed on Friday?
No, the library's open.
Yeah, but the library was closed on Mondays. Now they're open.
Yeah, they're open. It's
Yeah,
only-
highway department's closed on Fridays. Town hall closed on
But
Fridays.
at the end of the day, we have seniors that need services every day. And I think it should be Monday through Friday, and if we can adjust the staff.
We would need more staff.
Well,
We don't have,
Amy, I beg to differ. I worked in environments where I had 24-hour service to customers. So I had people do shifts.
We hear you down here.
I'm good.
please.
I worked in
Thank you.
industries where you had 24-hour service. So my people would work, Bob and Carol and Joe would not all work Monday. Bob and Joe would, and maybe Carol would work on a Friday. So you move people around. I just can't see why we can't.
so I would say most centers, if they are open on Fridays, they're only open 9 to 1. That's typical.
9 to 1's better than nothing.
We do have appointment only if they have, if the senior.
We have a
I'm
food
looking at
pantry.
programs. I'm looking neat programs.
We have a food pantry. We are using it for things such as,
And it would solve the problem of having to do the double physical activity. You could drop it either in on a Monday morning or on a Friday morning.
we also have, for example, the meditation programs. We've tried doing at the end of the day, different days. We've found that we have to do those on a Friday, just,
And I don't mean that you need to be there every day.
no, I know.
I mean, everybody shifts. It's a common,
So we got two employees that are 32 hours each.
Right.
You've got me who's 40, 50, 60,
whatever.
you know, but yeah.
I guess,
We need another employee. I know Carolyn had mentioned at one point, we would need a program manager. We would need a program manager.
I beg to differ. If I took this in chemistry, right?
Discuss it at another time.
Yes, make it a.
And you know, and it's probably not gonna happen for this coming fiscal year, I don't think, but
Towards the future.
Good, yes. Go ahead.
I just think that this should really be given serious consideration, especially based on the fact that the Friends are working so hard to bring programs in. And we can spend 20, 30, 45 minutes with Amy trying to come up with a consistent date for anything. Because you not only have these consistent items, like we're trying to do things consistently on a Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever, Friday. But then there are all the ad hoc things that auxiliary programs that Amy is bringing into the center as well. We don't have enough time slots to do this. I think we need to avail ourselves minimally of Monday mornings when there is staff there. And from a professional standpoint, I too can share that I flexed my staff and it wasn't an issue. And if you need volunteers, at one point in time, Amy, did you, and please correct me if I'm wrong, this is just, when you didn't have help, you had senior
workers.
volunteer.
Senior works.
So, that might be something that, you could look at, having someone come in on a Friday. And, if it means getting more people into the center, I'm willing to do whatever I can do to help.
I go back to, nutrition programs, health programs. I know we're gonna table this tomorrow. But if I look at the calendar and I look at the count by day activities, excluding cards, well, cards is, we have one activity on Monday, two activities on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, 2 to 4 on Thursday, it's a busy day. And Friday is 0, except by appointment. That's a low number.
It's also space constraints.
That's why we needed a new building. It's that,
Yeah.
like, we can't be running two things at the same time.
Would you pass these out?
Sure.
I guess we'll bring it up again. I'll be prepared to talk to it, but I think this board really needs, what do we need to do to get there? I really do. The board needs to step up on this.
Okay, I think we should discuss it further. We're not gonna get anywhere today. Okay, we have now completed old business. Now we start with new business. What are you passing out?
These are senior center statistics, the ones that I showed you earlier.
Okay, that's the next item on new business. Senior center statistics. Okay. That's one last question based upon what you were talking. When we talk about staff, moving staff around, what exactly does that mean? There are 3 paid people.
An example of that would be,
You're talking about volunteers.
no, I'm talking about volunteers and staff, but I'm actually looking at staff too. In my case, if I were faced with no volunteers and staff, I would have just as a names. Shauna do Monday, Jen not do Monday, she does Friday. Then Amy can alternately flex in there. So I have a person in the building 5 days a week, that's an employee. And, they work one or the other. If they get 32 hours, they work 4 days a week.
I think that's spreading them out too much. If they're needed, you're trying to spread them.
Okay, I didn't mean to stop the
Need-
discussion.
need it,
I was just
or-
curious what he meant by staff.
Well, but I mean, but end of the day, that's my comment.
Okay, what do we got here now? Senior center statistics.
So, and I just, hot off the presses, just got the, town population and seniors age 60 and over this morning, while we were meeting here. So last year when I got the numbers, it was February 14th, so pretty close. So you can see actually the number of townspeople has gone down, but the number of seniors has gone up slightly, slightly.
Why have we got 27 here?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's FY 27 we're going into, yeah. I'm sorry, it should say 26 on the top,
Oh.
21126. Yeah, I was waiting for Ellen. So, and last year we were open 227 days. The preceding year, you know, I talked to Phil and to Earl, and I do have 2024 stats beneath. You can see that we had, we were open a few more days the preceding year. Something new I did this year, it took a lot of finagling, but phone inquiries. I really stress with staff that we should capture every phone call. And it doesn't happen, you know, it doesn't happen because we went for a time without staff. It doesn't happen because people get busy or so on and so forth. So this past year, we were able to record 2,116 calls. However, and sometimes what happens is you're on the fly. I finally got Stratus via World Band. I kept being told it can't be done, it can't be done, it can't be done. I finally found a young man that got it done. The senior center, and I've got records, we took in 3,760 calls last year. So previously, we've been recording in a book, 2,400 say, or 2,000, whatever. 3,760 calls. From those books, when we have volunteers and we have time, I have them go through and figure out how many people were calling for transportation, how many people were calling for events, whatever, so on and so forth. How many people were calling for benefits programs. This number does not reflect that, but that's how many calls came into the Mendon Senior Center. Total number of people served, and again, it's only as good as the people putting their card in the system when they come in. And if they're a guest, even then we should be capturing them as a guest. And it doesn't always happen. So our number was down slightly. Our highest numbers prior to the pandemic are about 12,000. And I've been.
And I'm sorry to jump in, but I know that's each time you visit, but how many people actually come to the senior center?
It's approximately 500.
Okay.
Approximately 500 is like between 450 and 500 from year to year, because that is, yes, that is supplied or asked for by the state. They want to know. So clients that are less than 60 years old, and this is all using my senior center, we have approximately 141 to the tune of 617 visits for food pantry, for transportation, for fuel assistance, anything that they need assistance with. 141 people came in. Van transportation was down. Our highest van transportation since I've been here. We had over 2,000 several consecutive years, again, before the pandemic, building up these things again. But then we do have an increase in riders, 60% increase in riders from 2024 to 2025. So we're getting the word out, either that or people are no longer able to drive, but they already know about our service. So outreach was down slightly, and that's not much. There was a transition between Janet Hubner leaving in August and a new person coming on in October. General information, community education, I think those numbers were slightly down. Meals were up. Meals and nutrition programs. Those programs were up. Exercise was increased by 19%. Recreation's just probably 100 shy of last year. Health screening, 175 this year, 172 last year. Medical equipment, this year we had a 15% increase. We had a lot of people going out for knee replacements, hip surgery, general health issues. So we had a slight increase there. Fuel assistance applications up 20%. Food pantry went down slightly, but that, forgive me, we had a few of our clients passed away. We had our home deliveries were down, and that's kind of what we were hoping for, because we had people, you know, coming in. Our orders filling up, our orders filled and picked up, and our shopping at the pantry were both up, increased by 5%, I think it was each. Veterans are about the same, volunteers are about the same, hours of individuals. Community use, similar. I think we had one more community group this year than last, and we had 3 more uses of the building. So I am not going to submit, last year's numbers. Last year, it was an error. I asked them to use just 2024, because comparing the two, people will be like, well, you're not growing. We are growing in certain areas, but for the town report, I'd like to just put in 2025.
I was gonna say, this, when you said this community use of
Yep.
building, it reminded me in the newsletter, I like the way you handled that. Was it Karen that wanted you to
Karen,
include that in the?
Kathy suggested.
Kathy, okay. The way you did it was good. You put the asterisk, you had at the top what it meant,
Mhm.
outside use. You left a space, we put our activities, left the space, had the asterisk, so it wasn't confusing.
Good.
Yeah,
Other
remember-
people feel the
Remember, we
same?
talked about it at the last, we said, well, that's gonna be too confusing. I don't think that was confusing. I thought it was very good.
When you say veterans served, does that mean people who met the veterans agent?
No, well, that and also coming to the veterans breakfast. The veterans, yeah. So we have a round table, so we have a veterans agent coming and meeting with people, and then we had the breakfast, yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking, how do we know, or does it make any difference that veterans could be served also by other things that are happening, that just not identifying themselves as veterans?
Well, these are ones were specifically for, oh, no, I see what you're saying. I
They
don't,
come for oil with this now, they go for this.
I don't know that that's our job to do that, unless you disagree.
Maybe it's better engagements rather than serve, because to your point, Earl, if I go in there, if I were a veteran and I just do stuff, don't go to these programs, I wouldn't be counted.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Veteran engagement, okay.
So I'm thinking
I can change the wording.
I'm just kind of thinking a different term to it. Because it does sound like I'm serving 47 veterans. And it could be more. It should be.
Okay. Let's see. So, yeah, I think, it's a struggle to pull everything together, but it did come together. And again, every year, it amazes me that within the since the pandemic, that the numbers are so consistently similar. But it is what it is. And I hear, the group of folks that are trying to increase the numbers but it's a matter too of people not signing in or, I know in my town, they have people that are there to greet you and that kind of guide you to, but our center doesn't necessarily give you space to do that. Like, oh, can I help you sign in? We try our best, like when a professional person comes in trying to make us aware, staff aware of a program. First thing I do when they leave is we have something that says professional. I don't know if it says exactly on the machine, but trying to capture how many of those people, because that does take time on our part to meet with them. I mean, especially if they're just a walk-in. Sometimes they call ahead and they let us know they're going to be coming in, but so.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions about, the numbers?
I was just thinking in terms of capturing veterans, is there any way that my computer can be set up when people sign in? One of the questions on there, are you a veteran?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's a good idea.
But we have to do it for everybody. Yeah, it has to be. It's a pause. So when you swipe your tag,
Right.
like for example, if we had a notice we wanted to tell you, it would go out to everybody. We can't be selective, but yeah, we could do that. We could have you swipe your tag all right. So how would we use this information? And for what purpose would we use this information?
Stretch of thought, you could say that with the Veterans Administration, you could go and look for funding to help support the veterans. I don't know.
We could talk to our veterans agent, Pat Morris, and
I just think it's an audience that you're serving, which.
That's not known.
Right, and I think it's a good one.
okay. I mean, we can look into that. Yes.
I have a question. I assumed from this that it was veterans for veterans programs.
It's both. It's veterans programs. So again,
So we need to differentiate in
Right.
how the numbers are captured. In other words, veterans participating in veterans programs and veterans participating in senior center activities. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I see.
Oh, so yeah, so that's,
So you know the form you fill in when you join,
Are you a veteran?
does that have a veteran's tick?
we could put that there.
Because that would capture it regardless. It would just be a program that you could say, well, they came to, the birthday party bash or whatever.
Right.
Part of the data.
But what would we then want to do with that information? I guess I'm confused about that.
I think
Well, it's like if you, how many people over 60 were served? How many veterans were served? Just be another category.
Okay.
and I think it's a strong category. It's socially a strong category.
And we can put that on the form too, because on the
But
form,
that wouldn't need people to say, are you a veteran when they answered it? Because you'd already know that they were a veteran. And then also that would make it easier for your invitations. You just list up all the veterans.
well, I go to the town clerk.
Yeah, she has a list
I get the new list
of all
every
the
year from them.
veterans.
So
Yeah,
But that's on the list that indicates they're being served by the senior center.
that's right. That's right. That's right. All right. Well,
Something to think about.
we can give it a little bit more thought and tweak it.
Multimedia system.
Okay, one more question. Are we on next month's agenda, talk about how we're gonna increase the number?
How we gonna what?
Increase the number. And my suggestion would be, how do we approach a broader audience, a younger audience? We're missing a gap between 60 and 75.
Well, we're hitting those people, well, especially the 64-year-olds for Shine for
Shine,
health
yeah.
insurance. We have, we had,
But I'm just thinking of a broader marketing program. How do you get out there and campaign? And that goes back to my other thing. How do you have the center open more often and more programs?
That's connected.
It's all connected.
Part of the same discussion.
That's for next time, but since we're on numbers.
Okay. Multimedia systems
Yeah.
for education.
so we're giving this some thought. We have a lot of programs coming up. The CARE program, they're going to PowerPoint this year. We have another program coming up, PowerPoint, Carolyn had asked about our, YouTube capability. We have a TV on the first floor, but it's right above Shauna's head. And it's 52.
It's not a big-
it is.
It's not a big one. So, Shauna and I have been scanning the center, trying to figure out how we could do this. I mentioned it to Karen simply the other day. And one thing he did, we're looking at, say, this system. This TV is too big for us. I mean, could be on the wall, whatever, but there's the cart. I know Karen had a concern about the cart and making sure it was strapped in. I guess there's some
That's much.
there are others. I brought it to Dan Byer's attention and he said that there is some kind of a clamp system there. But anyway, long and short of it, we thought initially that we would need something like this TV and computer. The computer, that little computer right there is over $1,000. And it seems like when people come with their program and their computer, they can simply, plug in, have an HDMI cord, plug into our TV. So the long and short of it, the good news is that it may be much less expensive than we thought because TVs have really come down.
Mhm.
So we're looking at prices, we're looking at locations, we're looking at, should we do a cart in a stand type of thing? The locations at the center, Karen and I looked at one right as you're going up the stairs. There's a small one. Would you measure it? Was it 54?
That's a big, yeah, it would be just under 55-inch TV.
There is the space between the two restrooms, which is a huge wall. My only issue is, do you really want people walking into the restrooms during a program? I don't know.
If we could have it on the cart, that would be a great place to keep it
To keep it.
and then
Well,
move
yes.
it.
The other
So-
thing is, you put it on the cart, you're using up more floor space.
Yeah.
That ultimately may be needed.
And
I
then
really think serious consideration to the wall needs to be.
we talked about the wall over by the small piano, the piano that you had picked out. And the issue over there, it's like this one right here. It's the glare. But I mean, so Dan said to me, you could get blackout curtains. I don't think blackout curtains would be the most attractive thing, but I think they might. Do they make them white now with?
Yes, they also make blackout blinds.
Oh, yeah.
So you could add a
So
blind.
that's a wall there
Yeah.
above that piano. Okay, so that's a consideration. I think we have to, I really would like to move quickly on this because we do have these programs coming up and our presenters have asked, do you have this capability? I know you're talking about the historical program, and the ability to be able to show it there.
Maybe
So.
the other thing you might want to consider is a projection screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Dan talked about that too. He talked about a drop down.
And you can connect that to the ceiling and just pull it down
And then a camera as well. So we talked about that as well. So,
that might wind up being more expensive.
we gotta spend some money on ourselves,
No, I'm just thinking from the standpoint of the camera.
Yeah.
For an 85-inch screen, you can get it for $850.
Oh, that's more than Dan thought, I thought.
I don't know, but BJ, I just want BJ.
Yeah.
My only point being, you need something big because the room is large.
Yes.
In the back, and I've got a 55,
Mm.
I can't see that.
And you got to have a good sound bar as well, because
Yeah.
the ADA compliant, we must know that seniors
So-
have got the best hearing.
Yeah, I talked to Sean about, I said something about surround sound. She said she and her family turned their surround sound off. I wondered about, did they still do something like a Bose system? I don't know.
Wireless now.
The
Yes, they
wireless.
do.
So, yeah, so I was figuring the corners of the room,
Here, Amy, as you process.
well, I'm sorry, I don't have a BJ's membership yet. Which, yeah, just one thing, I just didn't put it on the agenda, but I'll bring that up too. So, yeah, so this is something we're working on, something that I will certainly, I think, benefit the center. for
Absolutely.
years to come.
What would the ballpark figure be for something like that?
You just heard $800 for that huge monster there. This is, I think, is this 90 inches? Yes, there is.
Tickle with me.
Yes, so, I'd say under 1,000, but with the speakers,
Why
maybe.
can't we gift it or share it with the friends
Or ask the town to buy it.
Ask the town.
Ask the town.
or the town? Whoever wants to buy it.
We want the town to buy it.
You always go to town first.
Okay.
That's
It's,
it.
it's
We all pay
necessary.
taxes.
That
Goes to the
is
town.
that.
But anyway, there's some, my opinion, this need to be big. If
Yes.
it's too small, you can satisfy 6 people who are sitting around.
Especially when we need
Okay.
cataracts.
I think we're on, if I understand this, Girl Scout intergenerational request.
Yeah, so I met with them Monday. I got an email from their leader prior to the meeting. They're very excited. The girls came up with an idea, and it's an idea that other people have come up with too. They want to start a garden at the center. Turns out their first thought was a vegetable garden. It's one that they wanted to start, and then Ann had said to me, well, who's gonna weed it? I think their idea was to start it, and then the seniors could run with it. My first thought was, if we're gonna do a garden at all, it has to be raised beds. And I don't think they even thought of that. They'd love to give back. They're really, I think they're appreciative of using the center. They enjoyed being pen pals with the seniors. This is something, but I did tell them that I had to, certainly come here. We've had, the Boy Scouts have asked us before about putting a garden up, community garden out back, but they didn't realize the septic was right there. But I told them that I would bring it to your attention. So, and if not this, I also threw out, senior housing. Apparently they haven't really gotten involved in senior housing. So I gave them that idea to talk to them. They may have something that the seniors there would like. I don't know.
How about the Boy Scouts that want to do a project? Some
Yeah,
raised boxes.
yes, actually, that is another.
Why
good one.
not?
And you can put those on top of the septic system. They won't jeopardize the system.
Right,
Okay.
if they're the raised ones. Bellingham does that in their backyard.
These are,
Put a fence.
we've been romanced for years about this one agency that does it. So expensive, to build the raised boxes. I'm sure an Eagle Scout could do it much less expensive.
You're good one.
What about the idea that, if we expand at the center, I suppose they can be moved.
Yeah,
Yeah,
take
you're
it
just
apart.
Picking up the
Yeah.
frame
Oh,
and
no, no,
move the dirt.
That's another idea I can go back to that scout with, if he doesn't jump onto the shelving idea.
You can build it, but you go back to who's gonna maintain it.
That's what I mean. Weeds grow overnight.
When the kids are out on summer break and they're not doing scouts.
So when I mentioned that to them, gently. They said, the leaders said, well, we could consider, because yeah, summer breaks, we could work on that. And then Peg had an idea, oh gosh, the person that was doing the community garden on the corner of Hopedale and
Annie
North
Parker.
Ave,
Annie.
apparently Annie's doing some kind of a garden behind their house on North Ave, which I didn't even realize they had that really cool house with all those different outbuildings. She wondered if that might be a different location for a community garden, but that wouldn't meet the, I don't think seniors may want to go there. Who knows? Or maybe they would. I don't know. So I do need to get back to them.
As
Since
far as
the
vegetables go, I was gonna say, a lot of people donate, because
Mhm.
I know I bring a lot of mine
You
out.
do, you do a
Because,
lot.
because there's excess and I want to share it, I don't want to have it go rot.
They were figuring that the vegetables could be used for the food pantry. The vegetables could be used for, people coming into the center, but
That has to be, someone has to volunteer to do that. So, I mean, they could put it together, but.
That becomes, yeah,
a burden.
another
Well,
job.
someone's gonna have to want to do that. Like you said, weeds are.
Mhm.
Weed and
Watering.
watering and.
Yeah, oh yeah, watering, that's right. You gotta water. Yeah.
the bocce court isn't being used or anything, so that would be an area that could possibly.
I hate to say, it is being used.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Crescent Road's been using it since before the pandemic. I mean, granted, they have specific times, but it's usually in the evening. Crescent
Oh.
Road,
Okay.
people there, yep, I work late on a Wednesday. I
Too many
generally see them.
too small.
Because I would.
But it is, otherwise it does look like, a great place to just plug them. That only gets the
I was to say
fresh
that's
afternoon
shady.
sun.
Okay.
That might be too shady.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that is it feasible with the different lightings?
Right.
Trees are over it and everything else.
So I can express that we have concerns. It's that we are very grateful for their, consideration of us.
So speaking of the upkeep, we have a landscaping committee that takes care of this. We don't want them to have to
Now,
work on that too.
having that main garden to take care of is a lot of work on their part. Ian knows that, right? The main garden is a lot of work to take care of.
Oh,
Earl was saying we don't want our landscaping committee to,
no, we can't take on anymore. I hope the two new volunteers.
we lost Doris.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Oh.
Life, it's hard when you start volunteering. Well, I was gonna say, when you start volunteering your first year after retirement, it's difficult. I've seen it that people trying to juggle and kind of figure out how things are gonna go. And
Right.
she started with us and she was very enthusiastic for Tri-Valley, for gardening, and she said that her life is.
But it can't be a one and done. You can't
Yeah.
just make it, you have to think ahead in terms of who's gonna take care of it and upkeep it.
Okay, all right, I will find a way to.
It'll
gently
be a
let them
mess thing. I know from my own garden, the weeds just appear, they grow overnight.
down.
It's like,
Maybe they could come to the center and have program time with seniors, whatever that may be.
The problem is,
Possible.
I'm getting.
well, I was gonna say they're only available outside of school hours.
So we do have those fifth graders that want to come in June and they did ask about if we couldn't get school transportation, could we use the van? I said I would bring that up with you too, but that would be between 8:30 and 11 is what they're talking about.
Sure. It's all insured under the town.
Okay, volunteer appreciation.
Only thing I'd like to do right now is find out who from the board would like to be on the committee.
Me,
Donna.
I know Peggy would.
I know Peg will too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I will-
Visuals,
I will
visual
too.
subset.
Right.
you said, Carol, you said.
Yeah.
Good, thank you. And I'd like to be on that
And
too.
Peg too, right?
Yep. Good.
And the conflict of interest acknowledgement issue.
So several of you have told me today that you still haven't received it. I never received it. I went to the mass.gov. I couldn't get in, had a password issue. I went to Ellen's email from last year because she sent us the link. I jumped on the link, brought me right to it. It recognized me, because I had populated my password or saved my password and was able to do it, but I never got, and she said people to check your spam folder. I checked mine. It wasn't in my spam folder.
She mentioned that to me. She said, just make sure it didn't go into
But have
spam.
you done yours yet?
Never got it. I haven't got the email. I'm waiting for the
Yeah,
email.
I haven't got mine either.
And I do check junk mail.
I've been checking my town email once a week.
We're supposed to do it in January, so I would imagine that the majority of us did do it in January last year. Like mine, she told me, Ellen told me mine was due February 4th. Again, never got it, but I did get it done. I think Peg is the only one that actually got the email. So,
Oh, what should we do about it?
I'm gonna talk to her after this meeting, well, after. we have
Are you gonna send it to our regular email? I never got a town email.
Oh.
Never gave me one. So
So that's
Do you have a
something
town
that,
email?
that's something that goes through HR, should have when, okay, needs email.
Then you gotta remember to look at it or link it.
I know, she was pretty stern. I don't know if you saw, I say stern.
Yeah, it was stern, but it was right. What she said was right. that
Because
we
Ann,
have to
if you
take
saw that Ann-
responsibility for, we can't be expecting, Amy's been so good, you always send it to our,
Yeah.
send
No,
any messages to our.
I didn't get it though, so.
Yeah, no, I
haven't
nor
got it
did
yet.
I.
No, I don't know. I don't think any of us have. Did you get it?
Well,
No?
I don't go and look at my town email, so I
Yeah.
don't know if it's out there or not.
Well, you've got to start.
But I know some
Once
of
a
you,
week.
some of you told me that last year you did do it on your personal email, or they did send it, because that would have been, they would
We got
have.
it right early last year.
I did get it last year.
But I did because I did mine up at the center.
I got mine last year.
I remember, did you say you wrote down your passwords? Remember you had to go home?
Yeah, and I think I did. I saved it and everything and I have it written down, but I haven't gone out.
All right, we'll work on that. I will tell you, we do, our board gets more, what I'm looking for, compliments on the fact that we do the things that we're supposed to do.
Right, we follow the rules.
We follow the rules more than this.
Okay, so I think we have come to the end of our agenda. Anybody have anything for open forum? Yes.
On the review of our MOU,
I'm sorry.
can I have a status on the review of the MOU that we submitted to the COA?
I don't know that we've,
We haven't come to the board. And one-
Joe, we'll put it on next month.
MOU.
I think,
Oh, I gotta go.
I don't know, thank you.
Like, you know,
Understanding, so that council and agent.
It's a memorandum of understanding.
So that there was not an issue going forward.
I'm around a lot.
Okay, gotcha.
And I'm sorry, we should have put it on the agenda.
Okay, so that goes on to the next agenda.
And has the bottle and can money issue been resolved?
What, the way that, Jeremy left it with me was, the COA has a gift account. Because I believe what I understood was the Friends can't accept transportation funds. Okay. And, so the only thing that I think has yet to be done is to let the public know that it's not being used.
Okay, so that is where the money is going now into the gift account.
Yes.
And I presume that was some of that 400 then that was deposited.
There was, another donation for 150 from a.
But it was asked for several times at the meeting. Not this one, I think the one that you missed. Okay, so it's going into the gift
No,
account.
I was told by
Council on
John
Aging.
that the Friends cannot accept the money for.
No, we can't have money designated for it.
Anybody else have anything for open forum?
No.
Well, our next meeting will be March 11th. And we are officially adjourned.
And
thanks, Earl. Oh, yacky today. I was yakking today. I was pushing today.
Oh, that's all.
That's my dog.
Not at all.
Meeting, I'll set up.